Hey everybody, Ben here. I have a message and I think it goes for all of us. It's just a reminder of where we need to get back to. In the very beginning, I was just about ready to film this after I received the message and my computer was forced to restart, which is just kind of going back to the basics. Like, let's start again. And what it's really coming through is don't give up on love. And it's not love in a relationship sense. Sure, it can be, but I mean, like the love in general, divine love, the love that you feel when people have crossed over and come back and say it's just, you know, this unconditional love. And in the very beginning, I was very thirsty. And then what came through was for love. Then I heard, do you know what it feels like to love and feel love? Like, really? Do we know? When the easiest way to relate love is, through a romantic relationship. We're attracted to that person. We like the way that they make us feel, and they do as well. Could just be seen as infatuation. And when we really break it down nowadays, it's based a lot on conditional love. You know, I love you because you do this for me or that. It's a lot of external. You're doing something in the external that is making me feel a certain way. A lot of love, is based that way nowadays. What does it really feel like to feel that love? Like what really is it? If since we were raised it portrayed in fairy tales and whatnot, knight in shining armor and princess and princes and all these things, and romanticizing this idea of love, which I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying that that is what we see it as. I'm not a mother, but I would imagine a true loving mother, her love for her child would be infinite and adoring and nurturing. So then what came through, I'll tell you, oneness. And when we think about that, normally how we portray our experiences, a lot of things are external of us. People are different. They're different people. The divine, uh, universal energy, angels, all these things are separate from us. Nature is separate from us. And oneness, wholeness, if I looked, if you were my neighbor and you lived across the street, would we view, would we love each other like we are, like you are me or I am you? And we don't view anything that way. We don't view ourselves as connected enough, or I should say, most people don't. And emanating, that love to another is not in a romantic way. It is, hey, you are me and I am you. This is a much more interconnected and difficult to fathom with our emotions at times. So then what came through is hero to be. And normally when we think of a hero, it is someone that's celebrated for their actions. And I'm not talking about, filming us give money to the homeless. This is uh, to be this love, this light is an unsung hero. It's not announced, it's not celebrated publicly, it's done in silence. And further, we'll see, a lot of us go through struggles in life. And to still show up every day as that beacon of light, emanating that love, which, you know, isn't, it's difficult because we keep wanting to collaborate the word love with romanticized. This love is something we probably haven't really experienced because it's, I don't want to say it's not experienced often. I haven't experienced it often. I don't think many in the world have. Everybody's out to get everyone else. I shouldn't say it that way, but more like uh, everyone else is to blame. A blame game for altering any aspect of my life. Someone's at fault. And we're not going to get into that in this message, but this hero's journey is very uh, painful. It is very quiet and gone unnoticed to the exterior eye, if you will. And it is, how do I want to say this? I'm going to go with the next part of the message that came through, and this will add up a little bit more. Sovereign as Job came through, and I'm not up with the Bible, like I don't have that under wraps. So I looked it up a little bit, and Job learns to trust God even over his devastating losses. And this is also like being tested during suffering. It is very difficult to to keep that composure and that courage moving forward when you are in lack or losing in any aspect, especially if you've been like devoting yourself to healing and being a better person when people are doing crooked things around you and they have all this, excess, if you will. And to show up even in difficult times and still lend a hand, however that small that may be, or to, you know, not hold these grudges or anger, burst out irrationally on people because they're having a bad day. And yeah, it's not really fair that they're doing what they're doing, but it's also having complete control of our emotions and seeing the bigger picture of oneness and understanding, what's actually really taking place in this all of the all that we are trying to evolve. And a lot of people are stuck. And there's a lot of tempting aspects to trigger us as well, to get us to get out of that light or that love that we're emanating and to drop down to their level to, surface as they are. Then a song came through. It is by More, Mormor. It's called Heaven's Only Wish For. And, uh, you know, to kind of bundle this all together, I wrote, wishing on relief from the heavens, which, is very difficult uh, to go through when we are suffering or on lack, whether materially or internally, in pain and going through things. And, going back to sovereign as job, like, why are you doing this to me? Why are you putting me through this? Why are you making me suffer? When I'm doing everything right that you're asking from me, or I feel that I should be doing to further my spiritual involvement, and you're fucking me over, is it can really be like I've had enough. Like, what is going on? And through these negative aspects, we have opportunities. We can stick to that path and try to be that light, but it's very easy to want to take the easy road out, however that may look. And it's a lot of trial. It is. And there is a reward at the end. And the reward would be different for everyone. Of course, most of these sufferings, if we're talking material wise, money helps. It does. And it can buy us food, it can buy us water, it can buy us a house or a place to stay and a car, all these things. And to continue on with that faith is so trying at times because it if it's coming, it just keeps coming, the negativity, and it's really hard. And that's where this, hero to be comes through, as it takes so much courage and faith to keep pushing along, in these difficult times. I'm going to read a couple lyrics from this song. So in the very beginning, it says, "I'm just a poor boy waiting for answers," pretty much emphasizing like, hey, like, why, me? Why? It does then. I didn't write this part down, but in that same like little clip, it mentioned about uh, ashes, and I watched them blow away, something along those lines. It's like, Tower Moment's destruction that we're experiencing, and it's like, I already don't have anything, and now you're taking even more away from me. And if one thing I've learned in my experiences is that, stripping all of these things away that may be important just to survive, uh, is really removing everything from us for a complete rebuild or redirection. And it is painful as hell, and it's scary, and I'm not saying it's enjoyable at one bit, but if you really think about it, I just did a message on, I was traveling, astral traveling, and I watched like the world, you know, be destroyed. And it was more like our world being destroyed. And if, all of our life we built our life around these false beliefs or structure and culture and whatnot, and it has to go away. Like we can't build on top of that because it's misleading or holding us back from our full potential. We have to start all over again. And in the very beginning, my computer had to restart, and that that is a painful experience to go through. It is, and it's like, why? Why are you doing this to me? And there's always a bigger reason. There is. Uh, Another lyric that came through that was spoke to me was, "The less we know, the less it drains us." And this goes far with me of in that other message I was talking about, normally when we start to wake up, it's mostly the societal things, and it could be small, like work culture and government and family and relationships, all these things. And that's our old life was built on that. And then we get into the spiritual aspect, and maybe we have spiritual gifts coming online, and we're feeling energy that's not ours, and we're carrying energy that people are projecting onto us that isn't ours, and all these things that we can look at it like, oh, it's a blessing, but it's a curse. And sometimes we just want to go back, or we want to use something to numb it. We want to stop it. We want to check out. And uh, as it says, the less we know, the less it drains us. The more shit that we know, and trying to live in this uh, society or world is very painful and difficult when we see so many people blind to it all. And I'm not saying like in a way to wake everybody up and tell them about it. It's just like you're watching it, and it's so dense. It's such a heavy shithole to experience, and everyone else is so blind to it. And it's a very lonely, difficult path to go through in, excuse me, that, we can't turn off and no one can see. I mean, there is people that see, but not like in your readily line of sight, if you will. It's very, it's difficult. So, that's adding to this difficulty, and to still show up is very, very courageous. So, congratulations. Uh, the next one was close your eyes and see it through. That's where courage and faith comes in. Like it is a trial, it is difficult, it is painful, and you're gonna get through it. We always do. But that faith and hanging on that faith when things just keep falling apart and falling apart is it that's trying in its own. It's like I know something's coming, but man, you just keep going. Like when are you gonna stop? Like, am I losing faith at this point? I'm beginning to. Uh, what did I write then? Hoping to find meaning. What is the meaning behind all this? If uh, that is normally not something that's disclosed till we get there. Everybody's path will be different, and it's a training in essence. If we think about it, everything we go through, how would we know what it feels like to help others? Let's look at it in that aspect. If you know, let's just say helping people that go through pain of not having a place to live. How would you know how that feels if you didn't ever have a place to live? Like if you went through homelessness once, you wouldn't know what it felt like. You wouldn't know what it would feel like to not be able to buy food. We have to experience these things if we're going to help somebody. Because, sure, I'm not knocking this, but let's just use like the mental health field. They study their books and they go to their case studies, and now they know what's wrong with you because of what you say and how you act and how you think. That's in a fucking book. They don't know. They don't know what goes through your head. I could say things to you, and you can make an assumption of about me. That's not true. You don't know me. You didn't go through it. You know, it's the same kind of idea that we need to go through these things to understand what it feels like to help others. I truly do feel. Then we have here, don't tempt the vultures circling. Don't be the reason. This I see as the taunting, you know, they're they're there. Like we can see this energy or these energies in people, and they are trying to get a rise out of us, a trigger, trying to bring us out of the light, the the vibration that we are holding to help others and drag us down to have, a bit of a more of a human experience, to respond to the negative situations that we might be experiencing. And during this time, it's very inviting to go down to that space, whatever it may look like, reacting in a way, uh, emotionally, outbursts, to feel like we have some say in something, some control in our circumstances, as well as, going to something to numb it, to make it disappear for a bit. You know, don't be, what was it? Don't be the reason. Don't, yeah, don't feed the fire that they're trying to get you in, you know. Chaos comes and collects the youth. I think we can all look at throughout life, chaos, destruction, negativity molds us all from obviously a very young age and upward. If we look at every negative experience or chaos, creates a wound to an extent, and we carry those wounds and we become the wound. That's what molds our personality to an extent. I shouldn't say personality, maybe, I don't know what the word is, but our, I don't know. I don't want to say self-esteem. Well, yeah, to an extent, but uh, our reactions, our way we react, and what hits us, and in a trigger aspect, that we are responding a certain way or hurt a certain way. All of these negativities created our experience, obviously, but I just can't find the words of what I'm trying to say here. Hold on. Chaos comes and collects the youth. These experiences have molded us into a person, and of course, it is our job to heal those experiences. Obviously, a transformation would take place during that time. And that's obviously what's taking place here. We are all transforming, we are evolving, we're growing. And I mean, it is personal, but don't allow those things to identify you, and a lot of us do for you know, a period of time, which is normal, but for the longevity of our lifetime here, that's staying with it. That's staying with that negativity. It is identifying with it. And when we're looking at the bigger picture, oneness, people are placed in our lives to propel us forward. Those experiences can be negative, and they can be worse for others than not. This is always an opportunity. We go through these things for to push us out of, say, a wound or an insecurity. It may be heightening or highlighting this wound, during this bad relationship or this situation of not having any money and being in this place of always lack. These are heightening these situations to propel us out, to remove this self-limiting belief or this image of ourselves. At the very end of the song, it repeats this a lot and say, some say you're the reason I feel this way. This is uh, placing the blame on the external. This experience made me who I am today. So this kind of went right into line with what I was just saying. That our past experiences made me this way, and that can be true if we want to identify with it. We don't have to identify with it. We can heal that and allow it to propel us forward, which that's what it's there for. But a lot of us at times we identify with this and allow the past to be or to make us become who we say we are. And granted, to an extent that is true, but when we're identifying with it and holding on to it so tight, we will always be that. Do you want to be that? Or do you want to be the beacon of light and love? Allow these things to heal us, to propel us forward, and to remove us from these, limiting beliefs, whatever they may be, these self images, these self esteems, all those things. Sorry, I feel like I was all over the place. I'm just going to leave it there. I wish you all the best. If it resonated, thank you for liking it, and we'll see you later. Take care.